this door, which is metal, shredded by shrapnel. There's a field just behind here, which is covered in craters. We're told that 16 shells fell on a very small field over the course of just 2 days last week. Now, one of the residents who we spoke with, who has a son in one of the separatist-held areas and family in Russia, says he doesn't believe that a war is going to start. He says he's not going to leave, that the violence we're seeing is just a provocation. But there is a real fear among NATO members that soon Russian troops could be right here. President Putin recognizing not just those 2 breakaway Russian-backed enclaves, but the provinces, these areas that they are in, which for now are still controlled by Ukraine. Alex Marquardt, CNN, in eastern Ukraine near the line of contact.
New U.S. sanctions against Russia announced today are targeting their banks, government, and elite Russians, and more could be on the way. A full-scale Russian invasion into Ukraine is imminent, according to Ukrainian, American, and Western officials. Isabel Rosales reports on the design behind those sanctions to stop Russia, and the other sanction, quote, nuclear option Western leaders are still holding on to.
Tough new sanctions to pressure Russia to back down from its advances on Ukraine.
It's a very broad-ranging set of sanctions, deeper than anything we've seen before.
The sanctions, punishment for what President Joe Biden calls the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine.
When all is said and done, we're going to judge Russia by its actions, not its words.
For the first time, the U.S. fully sanctioning 2 Russian financial institutions. Russia barred from raising money from the West.
These costs are going to escalate from here.
The U.S. taking it further to cripple the flow of money to President Vladimir Putin by going after members of his inner circle and their families.
We put on notice the oligarchy in Russia that no one is safe.
World leaders actively assessing whether these sanctions will indeed deter Putin.
I think we should still try to deter, but we also should not assume it will work.
The country already paying a hefty price. This week alone, more than $25 billion has been wiped off the value of Russian stocks. And the Russian ruble has fallen to near record lows against the dollar.
Hit Russia's economy now and hit it hard.
The West reserving some of its toughest sanctions should Russia proceed to a full-scale invasion. The so-called nuclear option would remove Russia from a key global transaction ledger, making it difficult for banks to send money in or out of the country.
Russia's already feeling the pain.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
Coronavirus officially became a global pandemic on March 11, 2020. In the nearly 2 years that followed, the virus has killed millions of people and brought grief and havoc to the lives of billions more. There have been multiple variants, devastating case spikes, followed by lulls, followed by more variants and more death. With the Omicron wave appearing to have crested, there may be reason for hope. But even as cases decline, the fight isn't over. Reed Binion reports.
In less than 3 weeks, the world will mark the second anniversary of the declaration of COVID-19 as a pandemic by the World Health Organization. At this point, nearly 2 years later, after multiple waves, case counts in the U.S. are overall on the decline. New cases averaging roughly 103,000 per day. That's the lowest level since early December when Omicron was surging. Hospitalizations declining 26% from last week. But with just 28% of people in the U.S. now boosted and the pace of vaccination slowing, experts say the push for full vaccination and boosting remains critical.
I think it's safe to assume that we're not done vaccinating for this virus.
And an additional recommended booster dose may be ahead. The FDA says while it's continuing to monitor new data, officials could recommend another boost in fall.
Many of us expect that in the years to come, we will have yearly doses of COVID vaccine, the same way that we do for the flu vaccine, in order to protect us against new variants that rear their head as we go into cold weather months.
This comes amid encouraging news about COVID treatments. According to a new, not yet peer-reviewed study in India, Merck's antiviral drug molnupiravir cut hospitalization risk by 65%, an improvement over a previous study of the drug. It was approved by the Food and Drug Administration in December to treat some cases. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Coming up, 22 couples get married on a special day. This and more coming up. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is John Lynch. I'm the president of the school's animation club. While other colleges' animation clubs strive to only show just straight anime, our club tries to be something different, as we show a variety of things such as Western animation, Eastern animation, internet animation, films, and so much more. If you want to meet people who have like-minded taste in animation, then feel free to come on down to our club.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at some news happening near you. A father and son are sharing their story after their car was stolen with the 11-year-old still inside. As Michelle Charlesworth reports, the boy's cell phone played a key role in getting him to safety.
He sends me a text saying, "Dad, help." That just took me and made it real.
Mad at himself and vowing never to repeat this mistake, Dad David Perez says the car theft was a nightmare. We showed him surveillance video of the crime as it was happening.
Wow. He just like that.
His 11-year-old son, Daniel, was in the front seat. He wasn't hurt, thank heaven. The criminal got in and just took off. Dad David had left the keys in the car, and it was running.
He was doing like 100 on the freeway, and he crashed like twice.
He's hysterically crying. And he says, "Dad, please come get me. Please come get me. This guy took your car."
11-year-old Daniel had been texting his dad during the car theft and was terrified.
Still kind of traumatized from that, but...
By then, David was tracking his son's iPhone to figure out where he and the car were and was in a police car following, trying to catch up. The car thief eventually dropped off the 11-year-old at the corner of Bolton and Lafayette.
Luckily, I got a video call from my son. And I was like, okay. I picked up, and my son was outside the car.
Police are still looking for this car thief, who they say is pictured here. The car was smashed up. The man was speeding and sideswiping cars as he drove. David and Daniel offer some advice.
To get their kids a phone if they don't have one, and always take the key out of the car.
Big hug here after a huge and terrifying ordeal.
Don't ever leave your kid unattended in the car, not even for 1 minute.
Daniel was taken to the hospital to be checked out because he had minor neck pain from the crashes. He was treated and released.
New York PD is increasing its presence on the city's subway system after a string of violent attacks underground. Since Friday, 9 incidents have been reported, including one man who was threatened with an axe. Natalie Dudridge has his story.
When you did this, I spun around.
Kyle Westby describes the moment a man swung at him with a hatchet on the platform of the Franklin Avenue subway station in Brooklyn around 12:30 Monday morning.
I saw his hand reach for his jacket. I saw a brown object. Upon seeing that brown object right there, I noticed it was an axe, and I just turned and I ran.
Westby says he alerted police, who arrested 58-year-old Robert Griffith. Officers tweeted this picture of the hatchet they recovered. They also found a screwdriver and a ninja type of dagger. Westby is 42 years old and 6'1". He worries about what could have happened to someone smaller.
I'm looking for safety for women.
It's just one of 9 subway-related incidents citywide since Friday. That includes riders getting stabbed in the leg, stomach, arm, and punched in the back and robbed.
This weekend, there were way too many violent incidents on the transit system.
At an MTA meeting today, Mayor Adams' new subway safety plan was discussed. Police and social workers will now issue summonses for ferry evaders and stop people from sleeping across multiple subway seats, starting on the 1, 2, 3, AE, NR, and 7 lines, considered the more troubled.
First, we had 6 teams out yesterday. We're going to reach the point of 30 teams. We had engagement with 100 individuals in the subway system.
The mayor has insisted enforcement will not be heavy-handed. Outreach workers will join police to remove people making subways their home.
Riders like Westby says he knows the safety plan is brand new, but he says he'll believe it when he sees it in action. In Crown Heights, Brooklyn, Natalie Dudridge, CBS 2 News.
Now for some heartwarming news. Tuesday marked the day of twos thanks to the date 2/22/22. Many couples hoped that meant good luck and decided to get married with all those deuces. Leah Mishkin has the story.
The walk, the rings, the kiss. Introducing Mr. and Mrs. Vargas.
We both said it at the same exact time. We both had the date in mind.
2/22/22. It's a palindrome, meaning it's the same date backwards and forwards. The couple says it felt lucky.
We actually started dating on 11/11/11, so this was perfect, 2/22/22.
Plus, they'll never forget their anniversary.
If I forget it, I'm in trouble.
The newlyweds were originally told they'd only be allowed to bring 6 people because of the pandemic. That changed, so their parents, siblings, grandmother, nieces and nephews all joined to watch the ceremony.
It's a fun day for all of us.
Hempstead Town Clerk Kate Murray has married more than 2,000 couples in the past 20 years or so. Her words of wisdom to new husbands and wives?
Communication, keep listening to each other, and don't go to bed mad.
My parents always tell me that too. Murray married 22 couples on the day of twos.
It's like a day like no other.
We saw the twos and, we just decided that we wanted a special day for ourselves.
These middle school sweethearts have been dating 12 years.
You look so beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Each bride and groom even got 2-shaped cookies on their way out. The Harpershad family had one more surprise.
Oh my God!
A car decorated for the occasion. In Hempstead, Long Island, Leah Mishkin, CBS 2 News.
Coming up, a look into how the MLB lockout may be hurting local businesses. Stay with us.
Botany Club is a group of students who enjoy learning about and experiencing the natural world, especially plants, through various activities, trips, and service projects. If you're interested in joining Botany Club, please join us at Hudson Hall on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And for more information, reach out to us on Instagram at Botanical Society SUNY Platts. Hope to see you there.
Hey, how are you? I'm Jason Lynch. Let's take a look at some sports news. Spring training has been put on hold, disheartening Major League Baseball fans around the country. The cancellation of some scheduled spring training games is due to the ongoing labor dispute between the MLB owners and players, as Elliot Polikoff reports.
It's a little depressing, especially right now with this beautiful weather.
Every year, Scottsdale Social Tap Eatery managing partner Steve McDonald ramps things up for the Cactus League crowds.
We try to staff up the best we can, run a lot of promotions. We spend a lot of money on marketing, letting the hotels know where to send their guests.
Money that McDonald now hopes doesn't go to waste as the future status of spring training remains in limbo.
I'm more concerned about it being, not happening at all. If it gets pushed back a week or two and they still want to be here for the next 30 days, that would be amazing for everybody.
If spring training ends up not happening, Local First Arizona Vice President of Business Development Thomas Barr sees pretty much the entire valley being negatively impacted.
You look at downtown Tempe, which does, rides to 2 stadiums from there. You've got Old Town Scottsdale, a lot of walkability, Mesa, West Phoenix. There's so many of them. And so a lot of the small businesses in those surrounding areas count on that traffic.
Without it, McDonald says he might have to consider reducing staffing. But for businesses that aren't sure what to do while they play the waiting game, Barr says there are opportunities on a county and city level to receive financial aid.
There's grant programs that are active and alive right now that they can get access to through Maricopa County, through the city of Phoenix, through other municipalities running assistance programs.
For now, McDonald is prepared to wait things out, hoping that MLB says play ball in the upcoming days.
The employees are all excited about it. We definitely staffed up the best we could. I know a lot of people put their plans on hold so they can stay here.
Lawyers for Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson were in court Monday. 22 women have filed civil lawsuits against Watson. Accusations include sexual assault and misconduct during massage therapy sessions. The judge ruled Monday that Watson can be questioned under oath in some of the cases. The depositions were originally set to begin as early as this week, but Watson's attorney wanted to delay them until after April 1st. By then, they would know if the Harris County District Attorney's Office is pursuing criminal charges. The NFL is also investigating the allegations. That's all I got for sports. Back to the desk with Mike and Benny.
Thank you so much, Jason. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
To stay up to date with PS News and PSTV programming, be sure to follow at Plattsburgh State TV on all social media platforms.
For Benny Nazai and Michael DeMarco, thank you for joining us and have a great night, Plattsburgh.
That's okay.